She was just an ordinary Nigerian girl, with nothing but a dream and a cracked phone that barely worked. But one night, a TikTok challenge would change her life forever. In just 2 days, her voice was heard across the world, and the man behind the challenge, Korea's biggest pop star, couldn't believe what he heard. From a small town in Nigeria to the flashing lights of Seoul, this is the unbelievable journey of a girl who never thought she'd make it. But what happens when fame puts her into a dilemma, and love turns into a battle she never saw coming? Find it in this romantic stories of shock, emotions, true love, and courage. And if you like stories like this, do not hesitate to like, subscribe, and share. This is Bella's story time. The sound of the old ceiling fan hummed lazily above Amelia's head, slicing through the thick afternoon heat of Lagos. She sat cross-legged on her bed, staring at her cracked phone screen as her friends laughed and scrolled through TikTok challenges. Her heart fluttered when she saw the hashtag trending at #1, K-Freaky Open Verse Challenge. The popular Korean artist, K-Freaky, had announced it just 2 days earlier. His post said, "Duet this song with your verse, the best wins $10,000 and a feature on my next album." Amelia's eyes widened each time she watched another entry. Big influencers, smooth vocals, professional studios. It all looked so far from her tiny room with its peeling paint and squeaky fan. "You should try it, Emmy," her best friend Lillian said, nudging her playfully. "Your voice is gold, girl." Amelia chuckled and shook her head. "Gold? Abeg, see my phone screen na. How I want even record? Plus, these people already get ring lights, followers, and all those effects. Me with my 50 followers? Forget it." The other girls in the room exchanged looks, but Lillian wasn't having it. "Don't say that. Talent doesn't care about followers. Just sing." Amelia smiled faintly, but waved it off. She had always loved singing since childhood, when her mother would hum worship songs while washing clothes, and little Amelia would harmonize softly beside her. But dreams were expensive in her world. The rent was overdue. Her mother's stall barely survived, and her father, once a driver, had been laid off months ago. Singing felt like a luxury for people with options, not someone trying to survive. That night, as the others scrolled through more entries, Lillian hatched a plan. The next morning, she showed up at Amelia's house holding her father's smartphone. "Let's just record one video, please. I'll post it myself. If nobody watches, fine, but you owe it to yourself to try." Amelia laughed again, but agreed, just to keep her friend quiet. She stood by the small window, where the daylight fell gently across her dark brown skin. She inhaled deeply, nervous but determined not to look too serious. "Okay, press record." The beat started smooth, melodic, with K-Freaky's deep voice echoing, "Love, it's a game we all play in the dark." And then Amelia opened her mouth. Her voice, raw, rich, and pure, filled the small room. She sang in a blend of English and Yoruba, her words heartfelt, her tone trembling with something that wasn't just melody but emotion. It was the sound of dreams unspoken and pain hidden behind laughter. When she finished, the room was silent for a few seconds before her friends erupted in applause. "Girl, you just killed it!" Lillian screamed. Amelia laughed again, shaking her head. "Abeg, make una leave me. I'm not that serious." But Lillian didn't leave it there. She uploaded the clip with the caption, "She doesn't even believe in herself, but I do. Let's show her what talent looks like when the world hears it." K-Freaky Open Verse Challenge. At first, nothing happened. A few likes, a few comments. Amelia forgot about it, busy helping her mother at the stall. But 2 days later, her phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Lillian came running down the street, phone in hand, screaming, "Emmy! Emmy, you're blowing up!" Amelia frowned in confusion until she saw it herself. Her video had crossed 500,000 views, then 2 million and climbing. Comments from Korea, the US, Nigeria flooded in. People called her the girl with the voice of truth. Hashtags like number Ameliaverse and number Nigerian Angel started trending. The next week, national news stations picked up her story. Brands started reaching out. Influencers who once ignored her followed her overnight. And then, one morning, Amelia woke up to her name on K-Freaky's official TikTok. It was a duet, him nodding with a smile as her voice blended into his. At the end, he said, "This girl is fire. She's the winner." Amelia dropped her phone. Her mother screamed. Her father, who hadn't smiled in months, hugged her so tightly she thought her ribs would break. The $10,000 prize arrived 2 days later, and for the first time in years, they ate without worry. Yet, amid the laughter, something in Amelia remained calm, as though she couldn't quite believe it. Overnight, fame felt strange, like a dream she was too scared to wake up from. But fate wasn't done with her yet. 3 months later, while she was at home recording voice notes for fans, her phone rang. The voice on the other end was smooth and official. "Good afternoon, Miss Amelia. I'm calling on behalf of Mr. K-Freaky. He would like to fly you to Seoul to record the final version of your collaboration. We'll be handling your visa and travel arrangements." For a moment, Amelia thought it was a prank. "Wait, Korea? Me?" "Yes, Korea," the woman replied with a soft laugh. "Business class. You'll be recording with him personally." Her heart pounded as tears filled her eyes. She had never even left her state, not even once, and now someone wanted to fly her across the world because of her voice. When the day came, Amelia's entire neighborhood came out to see her off. Her mother cried, her father prayed, and Lillian screamed, "Don't forget me when you become a K-pop queen!" As the plane took off, Amelia stared out the window, watching Lagos shrink beneath her. The clouds spread endlessly before her soft, white, full of promise. She pressed her hand to the window and whispered to herself, "So dreams really do fly." But what she didn't know was that this flight wasn't just taking her to Korea. It was taking her straight into the most beautiful and painful chapter of her life. And somewhere in Seoul, a man named K-Freaky was about to discover that his next hit song would come not from his fame, but from a girl who once laughed at her dreams. The plane wheels touched down with a soft thud, and Amelia's heart jumped in her chest. Through the window, she could see the bright lights of Seoul-glowing streets, sleek cars, and a skyline that looked like something from a dream. Her palms were sweaty, and she gripped her phone tightly, staring at the message that had brought her here. "Is greater than see you soon, Amelia. Welcome to my world, K-Freaky." She smiled nervously. His world. It already sounded too big for her. When she stepped into the airport, the air felt colder, cleaner, and the space was huge. People moved quickly, their faces hidden behind masks and sleek coats. Amelia felt small, her colorful Ankara jacket standing out among the monochrome crowd. But then, something caught her off guard, a crowd of fans holding placards. "Amelia!" they shouted. "We love your voice!" For a moment, she thought they had mistaken her for someone else. But then she saw her picture on their banners. That was her. Her heart fluttered wildly as camera flashes went off. Her story had apparently made waves even here in Korea. A tall Korean man in a black suit approached her with a polite bow. "Miss Amelia?" "Yes," she answered shyly. "I'm Mr. Han, K-Freaky's manager. Welcome to Seoul. Please, follow me." They walked through the crowd as cameras trailed her. Mr. Han led her to a sleek black limousine parked just outside the terminal. Amelia hesitated before stepping in the seats. Felt like clouds. The air smelled like expensive leather. "You'll be staying at the Grand Solace Hotel," Mr. Han said. "K-Freaky is very eager to meet you tomorrow. Tonight, please rest. Everything you need has been prepared." Amelia nodded. Her voice caught in her throat. Her mind was spinning. Just days ago, she had been running errands for her mother at the market. Now, she was sitting in a limousine in South Korea. That night, Amelia couldn't sleep. The hotel suite was too quiet, Too perfect, the kind of room you only see in movies. She stood by the window, looking out at the Seoul skyline, whispering to herself, "God, is this really happening?" Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Lillian. Is greater than Lillian. "Girl, you're trending again. Koreans are saying your voice is like honey. Don't forget us, oh. Amelia." "Lol, I can never. I'm just scared Sha. Life ring the Dunwin. And of a lower. Scared of what? I don't know. This all feels too big. What if I mess up? Lillian, then you'll rise again. You didn't come this far to be afraid. Sleep. Tomorrow will change everything." Her friend's words comforted her, and she finally drifted off. The next morning, she woke up to the sound of a knock. When she opened the door, a woman in black greeted her with a smile. "I'm Hae-jin, K-Freaky's assistant. He sent me to bring you to the studio." Amelia dressed quickly, her nerves fighting with excitement. She wore a simple white blouse and jeans, but even that looked stylish on her. The drive to the studio was short, but her heart felt like it would explode the entire way. When she entered the studio, she froze. K-Freaky was standing there tall, lean, with perfectly styled black hair and a confident yet kind expression. His eyes lifted when he saw her, and a slow smile spread across his face. "You must be Amelia," he said in fluent English, his voice smooth and calm. Amelia nodded, almost forgetting how to speak. "Yes, sir. I mean, K-Freaky." He chuckled softly. "Just call me K." There was something disarming about his presence. He extended his hand, and she shook it hesitantly. "I've listened to your verse more times than I can count. You turned my song into something deeper. It's beautiful." Her cheeks flushed. "Thank you. I still can't believe I'm here." "Believe it," he said with a grin. "Because from today, you're part of the music." The studio session began, and Amelia quickly realized how different this was from singing in her bedroom. The equipment, the precision, the pressure, it was overwhelming. She made mistakes, stumbled over timing, and her nerves kept showing. But K-Freaky never raised his voice. Instead, he would pause the session, remove his headphones, and say, "Relax. Don't sing like the world is watching. Sing like it's just you and your heart." Those words stuck. When she finally sang again, she closed her eyes and forgot about the studio, the lights, even K-Freaky. Her voice floated through the air, soft, powerful, emotional. When she finished, silence filled the room. Then K-Freaky clapped slowly. "That," he said, "is the sound that changed everything." Amelia smiled shyly, trying to hide her tears. As the session ended, he offered to show her around Seoul the next day. "You can't come all the way from Nigeria and not see my city," he said with a wink. Amelia hesitated. "Are you sure? I don't want to bother you." "You're not a bother," he replied. "You're my collaborator." That evening, back at the hotel, Amelia's phone started buzzing with notifications again. Pictures of her and K-Freaky in the studio were already trending. Fans were calling her the African girl who stole Korea's heart. But not everyone was happy. Far away, in a luxury apartment across town, a young woman stared at those same pictures on her phone. Her name was Ivy, a famous model, known not just for her beauty but for being K-Freaky's longtime girlfriend. Her expression hardened as she scrolled through the comments. "Is greater than... They look good together." K-Freaky finally met his match. "I shipped them already." Ivy's hand clenched around her phone. "Who does she think she is?" she whispered. And just like that, Amelia's fairy tale began to tremble at the edges. A quiet storm building in the distance, one that would soon test not only her voice but her heart. The next morning came with the smell of rain, soft drizzle against the window pane, and the hum of Seoul just waking up. Amelia stood by the glass, watching the city sparkle under the gray sky. It felt like a painting, moving cars, umbrellas bobbing like flowers, and a skyline that looked endless. She couldn't stop smiling. For the first time in her life, The world felt open wide enough to hold her dreams. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from K Freaky. Is greater than K Freaky. Good morning, superstar. Are you ready for your first real Korean breakfast? Amelia. Lol, what's that? Hope it's not too spicy. K Freaky. You'll see. I'm sending a car. Be downstairs in 30 minutes. Her heart skipped. Superstar. The word made her blush. She dressed quickly, denim jacket, black jeans, simple sneakers. She looked in the mirror and whispered, You're in Seoul, Amelia. Be confident. The car dropped her off at a small cafe in Gangnam, cozy, modern, and hidden between tall glass buildings. Inside, K Freaky sat near the window, cap pulled low, dressed casually in a hoodie and jeans. When he saw her, he smiled and waved her over. Wow, you're punctual, he teased. I don't want to keep a superstar waiting, she shot back playfully. He laughed, and for a moment, the air between them felt easy. They ordered breakfast kimchi, rice, fried eggs, soup, all new to her. She struggled with the chopsticks, and K Freaky chuckled, guiding her hands gently. No, like this, he said, adjusting her fingers. She laughed nervously. I'm hopeless. You're learning. That's what matters, he said softly. For a brief moment, their eyes met, and something unspoken lingered. Amelia quickly looked away, pretending to focus on her food. After breakfast, K Freaky took her on a quiet tour of Seoul. They walked along the Han River, took photos near the bridge, and he even convinced her to try street food. Fans noticed them, of course, but he handled it with calm smiles and short waves. Are you always this popular? She asked. He shrugged. Fame looks good on the outside, but sometimes it feels like being trapped in a glass cage. Everyone sees you, but no one knows you. Amelia nodded slowly. I think I understand that. Back home, people think fame is the dream. But maybe it's not always happiness. He turned to her, curious. What is happiness to you, Amelia? She thought for a moment. Peace. Doing what I love. Seeing my parents smile without worry. Her answer made him quiet. He smiled faintly. That's real. Later that day, they returned to the studio to rehearse again. The chemistry between them had grown, their voices blended perfectly, their energy synchronized. When Amelia hit a difficult high note, K Freaky turned, eyes wide. That's it, he exclaimed. You just gave the song a soul. Amelia blushed, laughing shyly. I was just feeling it. He grinned. Exactly. That's what music is feeling. But as they laughed, the glass door to the recording booth quietly opened. Ivy stood there, arms crossed, eyes sharp. Her beauty was striking, flawless makeup, long black hair cascading down a red coat. The room fell silent. Kay, she said, in a calm but cold tone. You didn't tell me we had company. K Freaky froze. Ivy, I was going to... Introduce me later? Don't bother. Her eyes darted to Amelia, assessing her from head to toe. So, this is the new talent everyone's talking about. Amelia swallowed hard, offering a polite smile. Nice to meet you. I'm Amelia. Ivy's lips curved slightly, not a smile, but something close. I've seen your video. Impressive. Very raw. Thank you, Amelia said softly. Ivy turned to K Freaky. I'll wait for you outside, she said, and walked away. As soon as she left, the room felt heavier. Amelia could feel the tension in the air. That's your girlfriend, right? She asked carefully. K Freaky sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. Yeah, things have been complicated lately. Oh, she didn't know what else to say. He looked at her, sincerity in his eyes. Don't let that bother you. You did great today. That's all that matters. But deep down, Amelia couldn't shake the uneasy feeling Ivy's presence had left behind. That night, back at the hotel, she replayed the day in her mind, the laughter by the river, his voice guiding hers in the studio, Ivy's cold gaze. Something about it all felt dangerous. She was about to sleep when her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. Is greater than unknown. Enjoy your moment while it lasts. Not everyone wants you here. Her heart stopped. She stared at the message, fingers trembling. Who could have sent that? Ivy's face flashed through her mind, but she quickly shook her head. Maybe it was just a troll. Still, she couldn't sleep after that. She turned on her side, staring out the window at the city lights. I came here to sing, she whispered to herself. I won't let fear stop me now. But as the lights of Seoul glittered like stars below, she couldn't help but feel that something had shifted, that behind the applause and bright cameras, darker notes were beginning to play. And somewhere across town, Ivy sat in her apartment, scrolling through photos of K-Freaky and Amelia on her phone, her jaw tight. If she thinks she can take what's mine, she murmured, she's mistaken. The days that followed blurred into a whirlwind of interviews, studio sessions, and camera flashes. Amelia's voice was everywhere on radio stations, TikTok clips, even Korean TV shows. She became the Nigerian girl who stole Korea's heart. But fame, as she was beginning to learn, had its shadows. She noticed it first in Whisper's small, invisible waves that moved through the industry. Staff who once smiled now avoided her eyes. A reporter asked a cruel question during an interview. People say K-Freaky only chose you because you remind him of someone. What do you say to that? She forced a polite smile. He chose me because of my voice, sir. Nothing more. But inside, her heart tightened. Every day, more gossip headlines appeared. Is greater than K-Freaky and the Nigerian singer caught leaving studio late at night. Thinks today. Who is Amelia, the woman breaking Korea's golden couple? Ivy's influence was subtle but strong. She didn't need to attack openly. She let the media do the work. And she knew exactly where to strike K-Freaky's reputation. One evening, Amelia entered the studio and found him alone, sitting in the dark. The only light came from the mixing console glowing faintly blue. Kay? She called softly. He turned. His eyes looked tired. You've seen the news? Yes. He exhaled deeply. They're saying I'm unfaithful, that I'm using you to get attention. Ivy's been saying things. Amelia swallowed hard. I don't want to be the reason you lose everything. You're not, he said firmly. This song, this collaboration, it's real. You're the first person who reminded me why I started making music in the first place. Her heart skipped, but she quickly looked away. Kay, you have a girlfriend. I don't want to come between. She's not the person I thought she was, he interrupted. His tone softened. But you're different. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The air felt charged, fragile, dangerous. Then he stood up and said quietly, Let's take a break tomorrow. Go somewhere quiet, away from all this noise. Amelia nodded. Okay. The next day, they escaped to Nami Island, a peaceful place filled with trees and quiet lakes. Away from the flashing cameras, they laughed freely again. K-Freaky taught her how to write her name in Hangul, and she sang softly by the water while he played the guitar. It was perfect, too perfect, but perfection never lasts. When they returned to Seoul, everything changed. A video surfaced online that evening, a short clip of K-Freaky and Amelia on the island, laughing, their hands brushing. It went viral instantly. Headlines screamed, K-Freaky cheats on Ivy with Nigerian singer. The backlash was swift and brutal. Comments flooded in, attacking Amelia's background, her race, her intentions. Is greater than she's just using him for fame. She should go back to her country. This is why foreigners shouldn't interfere in our music scene. Amelia stared at her screen, tears welling in her eyes. She tried to call K-Freaky, but his line didn't connect. She called again, nothing. Then, a message came from his manager. Mr. Han is greater than Amelia. The company has decided to postpone the release of the song until further notice. Please stay at the hotel. Freaky is unavailable for now. Her heart broke. She felt cold all over. Unavailable, she whispered. Hours later, Ivy's post appeared on Instagram, a picture of her and Freaky from months ago, captioned, "Loyalty still matters." The comments exploded. Some fans turned on Freaky, others on Amelia. Her inbox filled with hate. That night, she couldn't hold it in anymore. She packed her suitcase slowly, tears streaming down her face. Everything she had built, her dream, her pride, her joy, was slipping away. Lillian called from Nigeria, her voice full of concern. "Emmy, what's happening? The internet is on fire." Amelia's voice broke. "I don't even know, Lillian. I didn't do anything wrong. I just sang." "Then hold your head high. You did nothing to be ashamed of," Lillian said gently. Amelia wiped her tears, but her voice trembled. "I just want to go home." She left a short note for Freaky at the studio. "Is greater than, thank you for believing in me, but I can't stay where I'm being hated. I'll never forget what you did for me. Goodbye, Amelia." She zipped her bag, looked around the room one last time, and whispered, "Maybe this was all just a beautiful mistake." As she walked out of the hotel into the chilly Seoul night, a few paparazzi shouted her name, snapping pictures. She didn't look back. At the airport, she sat alone near the window, watching planes take off one by one. Each sound of the departing engines felt like a reminder dreams can fly, but they can also fall. When the announcement for her flight came, she stood up slowly, trying not to cry again. Just as she reached the gate, a voice called out behind her. "Amelia, wait!" She froze. That voice, she knew it instantly. She turned around. It was Freaky. Out of breath, no disguise, surrounded by flashes of cameras, but he didn't care. His eyes searched for hers, like a man desperate to find something he'd lost. "Don't go," he said, his voice shaking. People began filming, but he didn't stop. "You can leave the fame, leave the music, but don't leave me." Amelia stared at him, tears streaming down her cheeks. It's too late. You have a life here. I don't belong." He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You belong wherever your heart is, and mine is with you." Her lips trembled. For the first time, she couldn't find words. And there, with cameras flashing, fans gasping, and the world watching, stood two souls from different worlds, bound by music, pain, and fate. But whether this was their beginning or their end, only tomorrow would tell. The airport was chaotic, lights flashing, cameras clicking, fans shouting in a frenzy. Amelia stood frozen by the gate, her small suitcase at her side. Her heart raced as she watched the board announce her flight back to Lagos. It felt surreal only moments ago. She was a rising star in Seoul, and now she was about to leave everything behind. And then she saw him, Freaky, running through the terminal, his coat flapping behind him. His eyes were wide, desperate, searching for hers. The world seemed to fade around her as he called out, "Amelia! Wait!" Her legs felt like stone. She wanted to move, to run into his arms, but fear and doubt pinned her in place. I can't," she whispered to herself. "It's too much. The hate, the gossip. It's overwhelming." Freaky closed the distance between them, ignoring the cameras and chaos. He reached out and gently held her hands. "Emmy," he said, his voice low and urgent. "Look at me, please." She raised her eyes to meet his, tears blurring her vision. I'm scared. I don't belong here. I don't belong in this world of fame." "You belong wherever your heart feels alive," he said, gripping her hands tighter. "Not here," he paused, "or there, but with me. With music, with love, with everything that matters." Amelia shook her head, sobs threatening to break her. "But what about your life, your career, your girlfriend?" He swallowed hard. "Ivy, she's a part of my past, Amelia. But you You're my present and my future, if you'll let me." A hush fell over the airport as he stepped closer. "You've changed my life, Emilia. Your voice, your heart. I don't want to lose you. I can't." Emilia's mind raced. She thought of Lagos, of her parents, of her humble home where her dreams had once felt impossible. She thought of Lillian's constant encouragement, the market, the streets she had grown up on, and she thought of her voice, of the way Kay Freaky had believed in her when the world questioned her. Her tears fell freely. "But what if I fail here? What if I ruin everything for you?" "You haven't failed," he said softly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You've only begun, and I'll be with you every step. Trust me. Trust yourself." Her chest tightened. The truth hit her. She wasn't just leaving Korea. She was running from fear. But running didn't solve anything. Her dreams weren't in Nigeria alone. They were wherever she let her voice soar. Finally, Emilia drew a deep breath. "Kay, if we do this, it has to be together. No secrets, no pretenses. Just us and music." He smiled, relief flooding his features. "That's all I ask. That's all I ever wanted." Then, with a boldness born of desperation and hope, she leaned forward and kissed him a soft, trembling kiss that felt like forgiveness, acceptance, and new beginnings all at once. The airport erupted with flashes, but they didn't care. The chaos was irrelevant. In that moment, they were just two people from different worlds, holding on to each other and the dreams they shared. Ivy's shadow, the gossip, the hate, all of it faded into the background. Emilia had chosen. She had chosen courage, love, and the song that would never end. In the following weeks, Emilia and Kay Freaky worked together, recording the final version of their collaboration. Their voices intertwined like a story of struggle and triumph, pain and joy. When the song dropped, it became an instant global sensation. Fans from Nigeria to Korea, from America to Europe, were mesmerized by the raw emotion, the authenticity, and the undeniable chemistry between them. Emilia's life had transformed completely. She became more than just a viral sensation. She was a true artist, respected for her talent and her courage. Her parents flew in to see her perform live, tears streaming down their faces, proud beyond words. Lillian called daily, laughing, crying, celebrating every milestone. But more importantly, Emilia had learned a lesson that fame could never teach. That the greatest songs, the greatest dreams, and the truest love come from believing in yourself even when the world says you can't. One evening, as she and Kay Freaky stood on a quiet balcony overlooking Seoul, she turned to him. "Do you ever think about how all this started with a silly TikTok video?" He laughed softly, holding her hand. "I do. Funny how life works, isn't it? One small chance, one leap of faith, and suddenly, the world changes." She smiled, resting her head against his shoulder. "And to think, I almost didn't try." "You did try," he whispered. "And now, nothing can stop us." Above them, the city lights twinkled like stars. And Emilia realized that dreams weren't just for the lucky or the famous. They were for anyone brave enough to sing, to believe, and to follow their heart, no matter how impossible it seemed. Her song had started as a whisper in a small Lagos room. Now it was an anthem across the world, and Emilia knew this was only the beginning.